you were up in Marysville then when the 1934-35 strike hit? You weren't here in Butte? Or did you come back to Butte?
Well, you see, I come back. Of course, I was out of school then. It's kind of hard to say, John. I've tried to tell you as close to it as I can get. But I was here in this house, and my father was assistant foreman. He was working up on the hill. And I just decided I was going to go to Marysville. I thought, I'll go over there and batch over there. So he went. Two-room house, this one that I'm talking about. It was a two-room. We still own it. Two-room house. It had a stove, beds and all. Now then my mother said, how are you going to go? How are you going to get over there? I said, I'm going to walk. She said, you are? I said, yes. Walk over. So we never had any fancy packs in them days. I had a knapsack, what do you call a knapsack? And I started off and I went up to Brown Scotia and down by Deer Lodge. When I get to Deer Lodge, I cut back to Elliston and Avon that way. And I worked my way around until I got pretty well acquainted where I was. You know, I knew the country pretty well. And I went up over the hill, and I come down into Marysville, and there were two fellows that I know real well. Both of them are dead. They were standing on the corner BSing, you know, and I said, "Hi, how you doing? Where the hell did you come from?" I said, "I just come from Butte." "You did?" I said, "Yes." So I spent some time over there, and I did enough to get by on, you know. I worked a little here and there. I worked at the mill. There's a picture in there. The mill got burnt down. I worked there for, like a week. And worked up on Hope Gulch. Me and another guy, we had a job up there to fix a fence, build a new fence. And, you know, all the poles, we have to cut them down. Different things like that. I got along good. Hell, it didn't cost me nothing to eat. I didn't have any rent or anything like that. You know.
Yeah. Good. Well, when did you come back to Butte?
Well, I probably came back when there was a chance to get a job here.
Was that before the war again?
Oh, yes.
Late 30s?
I tell you what happened to me. I don't know whether you are familiar with this or not, but the fellas that were still working behind the fence on the hill, 98% of them were in some kind of supervisory jobs, you know. And my father was one of them. And I joined the miners union, and we used to have to pay our dues downtown. They didn't take it out of our pay. And at that time, with these fellas that were up behind the fence, they used to come around, a bunch of the union miners, and they'd have what they call a serenade. They call it serenade. They'd come to these houses, and they'd just terrorized the people that were living there. You know, some woman might be there with 3 kids, and they'd come, they'd blow the horns, they'd throw rocks at the house, and they'd just raise complete hell. Terrible. There was one place down here where they threw a piano out of the top story of a house. Threw the piano out. Well, this particular day, I'm sitting out on that front porch, and I hear they were up above here someplace, I don't know. And I thought, well, they'd be coming along here pretty quick. And my mother was here, see, alone. If I wasn't here, she would have been alone. So they pulled up here in front of the house, and I don't know how many cars, and a whole goddamn bunch of cars, a bunch of guys, and they're hollering, and you know, and I kept sitting there, and I didn't see. I told one of them, I said, don't you walk on that goddamn grass. I said, I'm trying to get it to grow. So, Tiny Brown, I don't know if you heard about him. He was a big shot in the Union. And he was a big man too, great big fella. He come to the gate, and I told him, I'm sitting on the porch. I said, don't you open that gate. I said, you stay the hell out of here. So he didn't come any. Well, I said, I belong to the goddamn Union, and you know, one thing and another. I said, I'm up there, going up there picketing, for Christ's sake. I said, I'll show you. And I come in the house, and I got my Union card. And it was all stamped, you know, and everything. I took it out and showed it to him. The only thing he didn't know was when I came in the house to get the card, I put the 30-30 right there alongside the door. And I met him one time after that. And I explained a whole lot of things to him. And I said, you big son of a bitch. I said, if you'd have walked in that gate, I said, I was going to kill you.
Probably would have.
He said, I kind of think you would.
What year was that, you know?
I think that was the 34 strike, John.
Yeah.
I think it was. But they did some terrible things. Terrible things.
Well, now, were you here during the 46 strike?
Oh, probably was.
Yeah.
46.
I know the story, the thing about the piano, I think that happened in the 46 strike.
The which?
When the piano came through the window?
Oh, well, I don't know when that happened, but I know that it was supposed to have been done.
Did you had a friend, Pete Lavelle, didn't you?
Yes.
Did you and he take some action to take care of some
Yes,
problems?
we
that you
did.
saw? Now, when was that? Was that after the war?
I would think it, I'm just guessing, John, but I think it was 46.
Now, who is Pete Lavelle?
Well, he was a friend of mine, you know. We were good friends. We used to, him and Johnny Walsh and Johnny Kane and myself, if you will. We'd go down and have that nickel beer. But he come to me and he said, Clint, he said, Gus Strom he was a surface foreman at one of the mines, I don't know, the Belmont? Maybe because Pete was at the Belmont. He knew Gus quite well, and he said, Gus is in a hell of a bind. He said they wrecked his house. And He said his daughter is getting married, and she has all of her finery in a hope chest in that house. Do you think you and I could go down and get it out of there? And I said, I don't know. Give it a try. So he borrowed his brother Johnny Lavelle. He borrowed his car, a Plymouth. And we started for Gus Strom's house. So on the way down, I said, God damn it, Pete. I said, we better be careful. We get in trouble with the law. I said, we better go and see somebody. So we went in the police station up there, and Peanut Sullivan was the assistant chief. And we went in and we told him who we were and what we were going to do. And I said, now, we're going to go down to this house and we're going to get that hope chest and we're going to take it out for this girl that's going to get married. We're going to take that hope chest out of that house. But we want you to know that that's what we're going to do, so that you won't have us arrested, which they might. Guess it was all right with him, so we went down. And Gus's house was there on East Park Street. I know it's an empty lot now, but anyway, he had a nice house. He was Swede or something, and he was a handy guy. He kept the house up first class shape, but they wrecked it. They took whatever it was, parts of a fence or something, and jammed it through the windows and stuff like that. Well, the windows on the house was built on a hill like that, see? So we went over, and the windows were gone. Big windows like that, great, all gone. And we just stepped over the sill of where the windows were. Just stepped over and we were in the house. And I'll never forget to this day how awful it felt and sounded to walk across those carpets that were strewn with broken glass. I thought that was the most awful thing I ever went through. Well, we went down there in the back of the house, more like, and there was the, what do you call it, chest. So we got the chest, and a big long goddamn thing, and we took it out, and Johnny's car was a Plymouth, and it was a car. So we lifted up the trunk, and we put the thing in, half in and half out. Stuck it in this way, see. And then we went back in the house again. We were nuts. Back in the house, and we went into the clothes closet, and we just took everything we could take off of the rods. Clothes. We didn't know whose clothes it was or anything. Took them out, put them in the back of the car. And we got in the car, and I said, for Christ's sake, Pete, let's get the hell out of here. Jesus Christ, those guys that wrecked the house would wreck us. I mean, we'd have got killed. Oh, wait a minute. I said, wait a minute, hell. I said, get that going. He's driving. I said, get out of here. Oh, wait a minute, I'll be right back. Jesus Christ, he went back up to the house, and he come back down, and he said, I got Gus's cat. I couldn't leave Gus's cat there. I said,